everybody, I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
So I'm watching The House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 3, something.
No dice. No idea. I know what next. Oh, the Burning Mill! I refreshed it and it came up. The Burning Mill!
I was gonna say, if you like pina coladas, getting caught in the rain. I think we're liking it okay.
Yeah, I'm still mostly
our paramours
positive.
are not enjoying themselves.
I'm still mostly positive. I will say I'm on a little bit of a high from the final scene of this episode, which had Rhaenyra and Alicent back in a room together, and that was electric. So my current feelings might be slightly skewed.
Yeah, broad strokes. This episode is the continuing war unfolding.
Yeah, I think we're really milking it, if I'm being honest.
And I think that's ultimately my biggest issue. And I think we've effectively said this a slightly different way every single episode. But I think the production is excellent.
Yeah.
And I think the material is just medium. Like, I really don't... And I don't think it's bad. Like, I think it's serviceable plot.
I think the issue... I don't know how long... Fire and Blood is, but it is only one book, and it's being stretched into at least 3 seasons that we are aware of. And so I think that's part of the problem, is that it's technically a history text, so we are filling in a lot of blanks as creators and viewers and
but
the audience.
I can feel the fact that it feels beholden to the story.
Sure.
Like, it's not actually being allowed to evolve organically.
No, we've got a checklist.
And I know
which to me is often the issue with prequel series.
Well, I was going to say, and I know that was also true of Game of Thrones, but I think the difference with Game of Thrones was kind of something we hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
It was ushering in a new era of prestige TV.
And the show did start having its own stuff. More than the books.
Whereas this, I can just tell they're trying to recapture. Like, this feels reverse engineered. And so again, I'm with you where it's like, as someone who's just watching it, I'm enjoying watching it.
Sure.
And you are correct. I was like enraptured by the entire final scene of Rhaenyra dressed as the Septa, going through and getting to see Emma and Olivia act together again. And for the vibes, it was exquisite. But the actual plot, it is frustrating.
Yeah.
And I think that that's why there is a little bit of disconnect between different viewers, because some people are like fully loving it and vibing, and other people are like, this is insufferable. Because
I don't think it's fully insufferable.
But it just... The reason why I kept joking about the Pina Colada song is because they just, in this scene, was like, oh... Duh. That was the subtext of the scene, but then
Alicent like drinking champagne at midnight. What?
It was you. But it's like Alicent, and you're the only one in the room who was like, she's in too deep. She has to. She has to commit to this.
There's no way out. Which she even said, she was like, my father is gone. You know what Aegon and Aemond are like. She basically was like, my hands are tied. I can't do anything.
And for us, that's enough. We're like, snap, snap. I mean, her hands are tied. What do you want her to do?
Okay, so, I mean, because I still feel a level of sympathy for her, especially because she had a scene with Helena in this episode, too, in which Helena...
The other good scene?
...forgave her, presumably for having sex with the Lord Commander
I was literally
while her baby was killed.
I was going to ask. I was going to be, what specifically is she forgiving her for? But then I didn't, because I was like,
yeah.
Does it matter? Is that not the point? And
also I imagine it's for many, many things.
Exactly, but it's like, I love that Alicent was trying to get that from her father in the previous episode, and he wouldn't even entertain her. Yeah. And so just in that sort of like, what is it called? Like family trauma, how it like inherits itself. Generational trauma, I couldn't think of the word. I like that this Helena, who is a mystic of sorts, was able to... Helena is such a... She's doing so much heavy lifting for me.
Like a real life.
As like an interesting character.
The actress's name is Fia Saban, I think. Yeah.
Because even like her conversation where the way that she was like, I still feel bad for my dead son.
Yeah.
But then trying to logic herself out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was...
Well, and also, I loved that Alicent was like, I am sorry about Jaehaerys because I loved him, but I am more concerned for you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I wish they had been having more scenes together all along because they're fantastic together too. I also seemingly what it looks like to me is that Alicent is finally like either she feels too guilty, but I would prefer it if there was a healthy dose of like I'm fucking over your shit with her and Sir Criston Cole. Because when he was leaving and he was like, I would ask your favor or whatever, and she just sort of like she didn't like huck the handkerchief at him, but she was like, "Here you go."
Yeah,
like,
that was so funny.
It felt
was like,
dismissive.
It was like.
Also, let's do a round of applause for Freddie Fox as her cunty brother Gawain. I love him.
Who is he?
So we watched this show. It's called like Murder at Something House. It's like it's a real story, and he is the antagonist of it. His name's Freddie Fox, and then he was also in. We watched the first season. Will and I the first season of Slow Horses. He just is like popping up in almost everything.
I was gonna say
now.
I've seen him before,
yeah.
but no, he was an interesting character. But there is an element of what is this for,
sure.
and how long is it going to be around? And I just kind of, I'm still a little bit burnt from the Eric Bowl last week, because it's like, I'm like, well, I'm not gonna get invested in any new characters because I feel like they're just biding time.
Sure,
like they're just around so that we have someone to kill to prolong the conflict.
Yeah.
So why would I engage? And that's just not a great mentality to have watching a show that's meant to be enjoyable.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
But I did like that scene. And Criston Cole, why did he cut his hair?
Slow fart sound.
Slow, mellow fart noise.
I have no idea why he cut his hair. It's awful. I had forgotten all about it until he walked out of the Red Keep again. Fabian Frankel is a very attractive man. I also do not think we should be bullying this real life man on the internet.
He had to go private, or he had to like limit stuff on his social media. People are nuts. People have lost the plot.
The character is absolute shit. He is doing an amazing job at it.
But
Two separate establishments.
It's so funny because I'm the contrarian devil's advocate person, and the first thing we did was talk about Alicent's plight. So it's like we're kind of accustomed to that, and yet Criston Cole is just such a terrible character, and I'm like, give us something. Let him be good at his job, or let him be excel somewhere, so that we at least feel conflicted about it.
Sure. Okay. The problem with that though is, we did see that in this episode. He is good at his job. He's the one that saw the dragon. Mm-hmm. He's the one that made them go into the trees. He's the one who was like, we can't go to the inn. But he's such a smug fucking asshole about it that I still want to see his head on a spike. I'm just like, I'm so done with him. And the fact that he's like not scared of the dragons, but Gawain is like very annoying as well.
Well, I was literally about to be like, but all that scene did was endear me to Gawain.
Yeah.
Like, make him more interesting.
Yeah.
Over at Team Black, I forget what the locations are called. There's so many words. Dragonstone.
Yeah.
So Rhaenyra sent, not Baela, her sister. Rhaena. She sent Rhaena with the children and the small dragons to hide.
And 4 eggs as well. Well, she sent them to the Vale.
Yeah.
Because
So she was kind of finishing the job Jace was doing.
Well, Jace was never going to the Vale. He was meant to go to Storm's End and back only. And it was only that Aemond was already there.
But they were trying to secure
basically,
allies.
yes. So she's basically sending them to the Vale, because the Vale is also kind of impenetrable, which is like helpful. Like by a land army.
I would like to see it again.
It's like there's like a bottleneck up the mountain. So she's sending them there to, 1, be safe, and 2, to have her, I think cousin, she said, Lady Jane Eyre, rally the Riverland troops and send them for them, because that's like apparently our big thing. We've blockaded the port, so we can't get in and out with like ships. The fishing boats are different, so now they have to secure the Riverlands, and that will basically choke off any of the Hightower movements.
Mm-hmm. And we did open up with I don't remember, Brick. We opened up with 2 warring houses.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember their names.
They were from the Riverlands, though.
Yeah, but it kind of was, it kind of explained Team Green's and Allison's whole point where she's like, the war is already happening, I can't back out now.
Yeah.
Because effectively these two houses have just been looking for a reason to fight anyways.
Yeah. And then they just slaughtered.
They like took it upon themselves to do it, and there were no orders passed down. Like,
and also it seemed there were no survivors.
No.
So,
so in the show's defense, there was that. We did open with that, and we are kind of seeing how... and that is where I think the show, the series, the Game of Thrones series, and the show is interesting and excels the most, is the explorations of politics and the trickle down nature of things. Was I correct with? Was that the blacksmith in that one scene? I don't think
so.
Okay, there was a man that looked familiar. He looked familiar to me, and I saw it. So I said, "Oh, is it the blacksmith?" And he told some story about how he was one of Viserys's bastards.
Was it Viserys or Jaehaerys?
I couldn't tell you.
Because I don't think Viserys was unfaithful.
Okay.
Yeah.
But also, was he lying? I don't know.
Right.
But he was basically bragging about how he was one of the bastards. And then...
Aegon came in.
Because they were having a night out on the town, I
guess.
They
were, like, getting one of the, like, new, like, stewards bedded or whatever, so...
But they weren't, though, because he got so mad when the guards were like, yeah, but that vows not real. And he was like, it's so real.
Well, so he really wasn't. And they were like, okay. Well, they had, like, a boy with them, though. He wasn't wearing the white cloak, so I don't know who he was, yeah.
He wasn't one of the King's Guard or
I don't
whatever,
think
the white
so.
cloaks. Or...
Yeah. So, yeah, they were, like, going all around, and they caught Aemond having his snuggle time with the madam.
Peep watch.
We got two.
Well, one of them was fake.
We got one fake one, but it was meant to be real. But then...
And it was Aemond, which is so high up on the list that I wanted. And I enjoyed it. It was nice. He's very skinny.
He actually is very fit, though.
Yeah, he's ripped.
Yeah.
Ripped like Jesus. No, do you ever...
Yeah.
I like skinny guys. I've got no problem with that. I very much appreciate it.
Well, okay, so like what's unsettling to me is him like curled up in the fetal position, suckling the madam. Yeah. But it's cool when he's like standing up and walking full frontal towards the camera. That was a thumbs up.
Well, and again, it's like, because he didn't even really speak. It was clear that he was embarrassed and then pissed. And his brother Aegon was like letting him have it, but you were like, I don't know, I wouldn't taunt that.
No, it's not even that I wouldn't taunt him, because he is scary, and so I think Aegon should be definitely more scared of his brother. The thing for me is that if I was Aegon and I looked like that and I acted like that and I was totally useless, I don't think that I would tease my brother who's better than me. Like crazy hot, sapphire eye, good in battle, has the biggest dragon in the realm. I don't think I'd tease him for whatever kinks he gets up to in the privacy of the madam's chambers. You lost. And he won, and just like let it happen.
And I also was going to say that I have been finding the show in general, but this season I've been finding it beautiful. I think the cinematography has been really exquisite. They are finding ways to make the shots look good and interesting, and I'm feeling the presence of this world and these cities and these dragons. Like, we don't get a lot of dragons, but when we do, they did a good job.
Yeah. I was gonna say the thing too, this only relates a little bit because you were talking about the dragons. I do feel like Rhaenyra is putting a lot of literal eggs in one basket. She's sending 2 young dragons and 4 eggs to the Vale. That seems like a risk. Like a big... Like, I know they have more adult dragons, but like...
I guarantee you we're going to see one of them get destroyed. Either it's going to hatch and the dragon's going to die or whatever, and the other 3 are going to be Daenerys's.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess there was a red, a green, and a black one in there.
And then the dragon scene, the aforementioned dragon scene, it was Bela and her dragon. And it was so beautiful, because like... Moon Dancer?
Dancer, I think, yeah.
You just feel like... I felt I felt it flying.
Yeah.
Like it was like being on Soarin' at
They're
Disney
very
World.
good at the scope of the dragons. You feel the weight of them.
And I felt high up in the sky,
Yeah.
and the way that they've been handling the riders, because like I think in the first episode we saw Rhaenyra dismount it, and it looked good.
Yeah.
And because you run the risk of ultimately these people are on like hobby horses in a green room going like this, you know? And I'm not feeling that. So I want to give production, you know, credit there.
I want to say too that somebody last week told us that the dragon that is just like random flying around Dragonstone is Sea Smoke, and that is Laenor's dragon. And Rhaenyra had a comment in this one that said he's getting restless. So we'll see about that.
Well, and Massaria, that's her name? Sonoya. Massaria was like, maybe he's lonely.
Yeah.
Or did she say, or like ready for battle?
No, lonely. Maybe he's lonely, yeah. I suspect, I mean, I have no way of knowing this, but I just feel like we need Laenor back. You know?
I don't think it happens in source material because I think he's dead.
Oh, he's hard dead in that. Okay.
Yeah, but also I'm not reading the book.
Yeah,
I'm watching a TV show. So make the show good.
Yeah,
like,
well, that's the thing. Like, just because he died in the book, well, he definitely didn't die in the show. So like that left it open for him to come back. So like, what I want is for Sea Smoke to fly across the narrow sea, pick his ass up in Pentos or wherever, and bring him back. Along with maybe some of the not the Unsullied, but there's like the men for hire that you can get. Like, I don't remember what they're called. Gold cloaks? Is that what it is? Because you pay them. Yeah.
But we did get, because I was apparently confused last week, because I was like, what was the point of Massaria seeing the Eric coming?
So we did get a follow-up, which was nice.
She I guess did tell them. That's how the other Eric was able to get there in time. And she is now she's on like Rhaenyra's payroll.
Yeah.
And I like that. I don't know, because Rachel was criticizing the show. She's not here to she was like criticizing the show where she was like, it's just annoying watching, you know, the battle unfold and watching boys just being so like underheaded. And I actually am liking the plotting and the girls.
The part of the plot that's the most frustrating for me is the fact that all of it was so easily preventable. Like it would have been so easy for it not to be happening at all. That being said, I do like the way they're going. I very especially like the way that Rhaenyra is playing this, because as we discussed, at this point, Alicent is too far in. She's in too deep. She can't say no at this point. It's basically the wheels are already in motion. She can't stop it. But the way that Rhaenyra is approaching it is very diplomatic, very slow moving. When Rhaenys makes the thing, she says she's wearing the crown of my father, my grandfather. And I don't remember the word she used.
She like let them have it. Yeah. Where she was like, you're gonna put respect on.
You're definitely going to, and it's like you need to understand she's trying to find a way out of this still with peace, and you have to let her come to. It's very the same as like the first episode where she just had to keep going out there until she found a piece of Luke, and then she could move along. She has to exhaust every option for peace, and that is what she did in this episode. When she spoke to Alicent, and Alicent was like, the dice have been thrown. We are past that. She got a little smirk on her face at the end, and she's going to go back, and we saw the preview for next week, and she's going to be like, unleash the dragons. And that next week's episode, which they already have posted, is a Dance of Dragons. Title. So that's the kind of thing where I'm like, I love that she's trying to do this through diplomacy, like literally as far as she can. Until
and I was gonna say low key, Rhaenys and Corlys are my favorites. Yeah, like there's so many points, and I do like it, and I do like that Rhaenys, because she could be singing and dancing the "I told you so" dance, and I do like that she's not. I do like that she is. I don't know. I really like her. I think she is a very valuable. Yeah, because she's kind of functioning like a lieutenant or a general or like.
I think she's great, and I love her too, because it's only her and Rhaenyra, the women in the room. The rest are all men, and that was one of the things that she said to Alicent too, where she was like, you know, the men just want to go to war. You know that's all they want. They're trained for it. We watched that tournament, you know, the day my brother was born. You understand that this is, but like we can still come to this peace or whatever. And I appreciate that about her. Like I would prefer her to be that way, because for me she's the hero of the show, and Alicent is like a tragic mirror basically. But yeah, I don't know. I really loved the way that they did that.
Did I finish the Massaria plots? I feel like she did something else. Well, she's the one that helped Rhaenyra get in to meet Alicent, so she did have another one. The other big thing is Daemon went to
Harrenhal, yeah. Which is the seat of the Strongs. So the father of
Larys and
Larys, and then the father of Rhaenyra's first 3 sons. Yeah.
And it was in disrepair. I forgot why he said.
Aegon the Conqueror's dragon blew it up, basically.
Okay, so it's been in disrepair for a while.
For a long time.
Okay. And he was welcomed. He still is being suspicious, but it's haunted, it seems. I was joking when I said it, and you were like, no, that's canon.
Yeah.
Like, it's in and I kind of love that. I'm kind of like, Ghost might only make this cooler.
Yeah, so there is, like, basically a thing called the Ghost of Harrenhal. And so, also, I think it's just sort of, like, weird and misty, because that's where...
Have we seen it before?
Yes, yeah. It was in Game of Thrones. Because it's the one who, like... who died but came back, and we kept on thinking we were going to get Lady Stoneheart from him.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
The Brotherhood Without Banners.
Without Banners. They were, I think, holed up at Harrenhal.
Okay.
At the end of their run. Also, it was Jaehaerys the Conciliator. And Rhaenys made sure to say that he had the longest reign of any Targaryen king. So, like, that's important, regardless. So, yeah, Daemon is there to try to get... because they're also in the Riverlands. And so he's also trying to get them to, like, gather everybody. There was, like, I don't remember who, because it wasn't another Aaron, but it was someone, he was trying to get the, like, lord of the area to come, but it wasn't a Frey, because they are in the Riverlands as well. Yeah. So he was trying to get them to come, so he could, like, treat with them or whatever, and then he had a vision of young Rhaenyra sewing the head back on Jaehaerys, and then he went outside, and Gail Rankin was there.
She's working.
Love her.
She's gigging.
And
Sheila the She-Wolf from Glow, if anybody watched Glow.
So her name was Alice Rivers, and she basically looked him straight in the eyes and said, "You're gonna die here," which I also kind of loved. But hopefully not too soon.
I was gonna be like now?
No.
Or I'm gonna come back.
Eventually.
I'll make my way back here.
How about in season 3? I'd love to keep Matt Smith around into season 3. Let's not do another Lord Baelish.
I don't know. Like I said, there was a momentum to Game of Thrones where this still feels very...
Well, I think...
So, like, where it's just kind of like...
I think, and like this...
It's not listing.
No, this is also... I looked it up. The book is 736 pages long, so it's longer than The Hobbit, but I'm feeling Hobbit stuff. It doesn't need to be... It probably didn't need to be 3 seasons. And that's even with me saying that I think the first season could have been 2.
Is the third going to be like a final?
I don't know.
Is that a plan, or we don't know? Okay.
They buried the Erics. Jace was very like...
Yeah.
Eric desecrates Eric's grave, and I was just sort of like, they came in the world together, they're gonna go out together. Just let them be buried together. Yeah, I did love the Rhaenys scene with Rhaenyra at the beginning as well. Trying to think. Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I'm still having a good time. We might lose the others in the house at some point.
A house divided.
We are a house divided.
On theme.
But yeah, so we'll see going forward. But I mean, I'm liking, it's very similar to how we just finished Teen Wolf. I'm really liking the character work a lot. And the plot is sort of irrelevant to me.
That's kind of what I said, where it's like, I'm fine watching this, like, I'm fine looking at it.
Yeah.
But I'm only here for the food in many ways.
Yeah, I mean, I just know that they're all going to die, as are all of the dragons. So I'm just waiting for the inevitable at this point. But in the meantime, I'm watching really good actors do what they do best. So it's still fun for me to look at.
So, okay, that was our thoughts on episode 3.
Alrighty. Bye.